Welcome, age of vintage society. She was a nature-made beauty, a symbol of feminine elegance with a fascinating, immaculate complexion. Billie Dove was everything you could think of in the arena of glamour and seductive charm because of her body perfection, which made her a natural choice for the earliest Technicolor films. The American Beauty, as she was fondly called, ruled the silent era with her penetrating look and those animated hazel eyes, but her sudden retirement from the industry left fans with lots of guesses as to what may have transpired with the goddess of beauty. How was Billie Dove sold by her husband to Howard Hughes? Despite her prominence and a more promising career outlook, Billie Dove, with her electrifying presence, never became the kind of international superstar that most of her fans had wished for, a hit or a miss. It is still surprising how her career journey panned out. As stunning and charming as her ancient photographs are, one wonders how beautiful those images would have been if they were taken with a more sophisticated camera. No wonder many still see Billie Dove as the closest symbol of glamour and romance in the silent movies. Because of her touching beauty, Billie Dove was nicknamed the American Beauty, which fans got from the title of one of her early movies. For all we know about this talented lady, she was so cute and popular, and in the later part of the 1920s Dove was at the climax of her fame, ranked alongside Colleen Moore and Clara Bow as one of the most famous actresses in the cinema. Interestingly, Billie Dove was purely ahead of famous Hollywood talents like Mary Pickford, Gloria Swanson, and even Greta Garbo in terms of popularity and box office draw. Treasured for her physical perfection, Billie Dove radiated love and innocence. Although highly successful in the talkies, she decided to take a bow from the industry she served at the peak of her career. It may have been a wise decision for Billie Dove, but fans are still curious about this peaceful soul, who was among the last of the film empresses that reached their peak of prominence when sound production was only an idea in the technician's lab. What happened, you might be asking? Your guess is as good as mine. Fans thought she got involved with powerful people, or she was concerned about the scandals that rocked her career at some point. I heard that she got scandalously involved with the famous Howard Hughes, but whether that affair had something to do with her early retirement would be an issue for another day. Billie Dove would be remembered for her role as Douglas Fairbanks' leading lady in the 1926 epic The Black Pirate. During her brief 12 years of entertainment career, Dove appeared in about 36 silent movies and 12 talkies, but unfortunately she misused a bigger opportunity when she turned down the role of Belle Watling in Gone with the Wind. Maybe that was just the beginning of her career downturn, but she was resolute in her retirement decision and told fans that her decision had nothing to do with career disappointments, but the fact that she was interested in raising a lovely family. The reason not even an enticing offer to play a role in the legendary Gone with the Wind production could make her return to studios. But who was Billie Dove, and what stories define her enviable life and career? Dove was born Bertha Eugenie Boney in New York City sometime in 1903 to Charles and Bertha Boney. Her parents migrated from Switzerland. She had a childhood view of a visit to Switzerland and spoke German before learning English. As a child, Dove knew nothing about the theatre, but close to their family residence was the Air Dome Movie House, where she developed an early interest in entertainment, and quietly she nursed her dream of becoming part of the movies. In the later days she told fans that she had always liked the movies, adding that all the girls back then wanted to be in the movies. Of course, not every one of them was as charming as Dove. She also had an instinct that told her that one day she would be on screen performing. I knew I was going to be in the movies. There have been instances in my life when I have been sure of something. Being a movie star, she said, was one of them. Billie Dove was one of the teenage beauties you can see on the streets of New York, and was said to have joined modelling to assist her humble family. Lucky babe, she is to have a neighbour who was a movie extra at Fort Lee from New York City. Dove's mother hurled her young daughter to the studios and registered her. Her early experience was a Mabel Normand picture in 1918 titled Joan of Plattsburgh. The director had instructed her to run to her brother and kiss him. She was thrilled with the act that she waited anxiously for the picture to be out so she could broadcast it to her friends. But to her dismay, the camera only took an image of her legs. As reported, by age 10, little Dove was already in the news as a child model, and like a goldfish with no hiding place, Florence Ziegfeld, who was on the lookout for fresh beauty, must have been searching for her kind when he saw her picture on a commercial for emulsified coconut oil. He was said to have traced her to the source of the advert, where she was modelling, and offered her a deal for his midnight Frolics show. It did not take long before she started performing at Ziegfeld Follies Revue. She worked with him for 2 years, rising to the highest paid member and augmenting the economic status of her parents. Before this time, Dove proudly told Ziegfeld that she had no interest in becoming a chorus girl. Ziegfeld had no choice but to give her a featured role because the timing was all working to her advantage. Eddie Cantor, the star performer of Ziegfeld Follies, was on strike alongside many of the girls, and Ziegfeld wanted a quick replacement. Dove went in as a replacement for the Ziegfeld Follies. She also played in the Marilyn Miller show Sally, also created by Ziegfeld. She was said to have officially changed her name to Lillian Boney at the beginning of the 1920s. In case you come across the name somewhere in print, you should know that it's the same glamorous lady. Her parents were of Lutheran faith. She recalled how the church put together a girls' basketball event. Her basketball team had named her Billie. Then she was still a little girl, but as she grew up the name stuck with her. A similar story was told of the name Dove. It was said that her exceptional beauty as a teenage model was in great demand by renowned artists like Charles Dana Gibson, Howard Chandler Christie, and James Montgomery Flagg. They christened her the Dove because she was so lovely but so nervous, and by the time she began appearing in films, she adopted the 2 names as her stage name. That was it. Billie Dove was born. Her shows on the stage as the glorified American girls in the Follies of 1919 sold her out to the limelight before she relocated to Hollywood with her mother, where she commenced her creative performances in silent films. On arrival to Hollywood, it was Metro that placed her on a year's contract, from which she gathered momentum as a choice feminine lead in several films. Expectedly, her exceptional beauty was a plus to her talent, and in no time the young beauty was on her way to fame as she became one of the notable actresses. Within a space of 4 years, young, beautiful and talented Dove was criss-crossing several studios, playing major leads in Hollywood, and of course proved herself as a hard-working and bankable actress that anyone can rely on. After appearing in the highly successful Technicolor film The Black Pirate, Dove became one of the leading ladies of the time and appeared in several classic films, including An American Beauty in 1927, which became her trademark movie. She made her first appearance in the talkie Careers in 1933, but her last appearance in talking films came a year later, when she showed in Blondie of the Follies. Critics say she made a huge impact with her silent pictures than the talkies, which is not unconnected to her stunning beauty. It was obvious that Billie Dove cruised to fame when she signed a contract with First National, which cemented her star status. She became the face everyone wants to see in the movies. One can only imagine how hot she was at the time that a writer described her as box office dynamite. A New York Times analyst did not mince words by saying that Dove was an actress of rare ability that showed useful charm and intelligence. On how she got entangled with director Irvin Willett after he cast her in his movie, Dove said that they were on location for a month or so, and on their way back it was "Marry me, marry me, marry me." The words came a million times from him until she said yes, so you can stop asking, although she liked his personality. Thereafter the two were married in 1923. Billie had a lot of distant admirers, including young Douglas Fairbanks, who appeared with her in many films. Fairbanks once spoke of how her charm infatuated him so much, just as it did to thousands of males of the time. She was not only lovely to look at, but perfectly charming to work with, he was quoted as saying. And being a gentleman who was conscious of his integrity, Fairbanks noted that the only obstacle he had about expressing his feelings to her was that she was married to Willett. Of course, Dove trended as the most beautiful woman at the time, with many male crushes watching from the corners of their eyes because she had strong support from her then husband. Willett was also credited for advancing her career. As she grew in popularity, it's only natural that the two move on with their life because of understandable circumstances, though in the background was her chief admirer among the many male crushes, the maverick heir to a family wealth who was just entering and investing in movies as a producer, the famous Howard Hughes. There are reports that Hughes had offered her husband, director Willett, the sum of $300,000 to persuade him to divorce her so he can have her to himself. Interestingly, that issue caused a serious scandal that was highly publicized in the media. I wouldn't know exactly how things panned out, but we do know that she finally divorced Willett, even as Hughes also bought over her contract from First National Pictures. It was so funny, or do I say coincidental, as Howard Hughes was processing his divorce from his wife simultaneously. I still recall what a friend once said about love. It's like magic once you're charmed. You can be so desperate and helplessly obsessed. That is the only way I could describe how Hughes felt about attractive Dove after he fell under her spell. He was devoted to her and was ready to do anything to have her. He met her when his adventure into the movies was beginning to yield profit as a producer, having produced laudable movies like Hell's Angels. One thing leads to another. The duo found themselves in a romantic lane. Dove-Hughes affair became the trendy topic within the entertainment circle of the era. Rumours flew left, right and centre about the two getting married at different times, but all turned out to be just hearsay. They were never married, although Dove and Hughes were together for about 3 years plus, a time that saw her appearing in 2 of his movies. With Hughes, Dove was seen showcasing her talents as a comedienne, as seen in her performance in that wacky role in Cock of the Air, a screwball World War I romance that portrayed her as a French actress who found herself in a series of jesting confrontations while leading a passionate would-be seducer who happens to be an American aviator. Dove's affair with Hughes also came to an end, though she never gave reasons why that union could not lead to marriage. But like other men who kept dreaming about beautiful Dove, Hughes still finds it difficult to believe that he lost the one abundant love of his life. Dove would also remember the passion they shared, even though it seems the affair was not meant to be. Talking about her early retirement from the movies, Dove before her demise was quoted to have said, "I thought I had attained everything I wanted. I wanted to do like others. I wanted a family." This unique lady told fans that she had seen some actresses who tried to hang on to their careers after achieving career fame, only for them to start depreciating. It's something she did not want for herself. "I vowed that would never happen to me," she was quoted. When that romance faltered, Dove got married to her second husband, Robert Keniston, had a son, Robert, and adopted a girl. Dove probably left the movie scene in 1933 so she can enjoy a quiet marital life with her oil tycoon husband. And after about 30 years of absenteeism from screen activities, she resurfaced for a final shot in a bit role in Charlton Heston's Diamond Head. Dove and Keniston, with her 2 kids, installed a home in Pacific Palisades and was also said to have maintained a winter residence close to Palm Springs. Regrettably, after 37 years of marriage, Dove and her husband still believed that divorce was possible, as the couple eventually parted in a quiet divorce. Dove was willing to give another shot at marriage, the reason she embarked on a 3rd missionary journey, by marrying architect John Miller, but the union was brief and much unwelcomed as far as her fans were concerned. I also heard that when Keniston, her then ex-husband, died, Billie Dove hurriedly reclaimed his name. She was no doubt a remarkable lady who retained her charm modesty even in the later part of her life, a very cautious lady who was blessed with an enviable beauty. Dove died of pneumonia in 1997, when she turned 94. Dove's story is truly one for the ages, but before you go we have another tantalizing tale to share with you. In our next video, we'll explore the unforgettable career of Katie Girardeau and how she captivated audience with her sultry on-screen performances.